Welcome to a special winter edition of Garden Path. It's March, there's snow on the ground. I'm Christine Paxia, and today's episode will take you inside the creating or the planting of the seeds for the Brookwood Community Farm. And we are in front of the Brookwood Farm's greenhouse space, and they actually rent the space from the Bradley estate. So it's all local, it's all organic, and I think you'll be fascinated to see the process of how they put the soil into the trays and plant the seeds in time for you to have a delicious salad or a wonderful vegetable entree. So let's take a walk in, meet the volunteers of the Brookwood Community Farm. So let's go. And it's a greenhouse with the green door. Well, today we're here with Sarah Rostampour and her volunteer helpers at the Brookwood Community Farm. So even though there's about 2 feet of snow outside, it's the beginning of March, the production is already starting for their May sale and their CSA shares, which will continue throughout the summer if you've ever purchased fresh, native, organic vegetables from the Brookwood Community Farm. So Sarah, thank you for joining me today. And we've walked into a real dirty situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got a wheelbarrow here. We've got all these trays filled with soil. So what's the process? How does it begin?
Yeah, thanks for coming. So yeah, we have to start early because there are a lot of crops that take a real long time to get started. Herbs and onions both do. So basically we have a lot of potting soil. So we've been filling them outside. Or in here. So we have Joan over here filling these. She's stacking them up here. Sometimes with potting soil it gets compressed, but we have a really nice fluffy potting soil here. So then they stack over here. We have someone making tags and kind of organizing what needs to get done because we have well over 100 trays that we need to do this week. And then we have a number of people seeding them one by one. It all happens by hand.
So you've got seeds, soil, trays, volunteers. So you've got the dirty girl here. Say hi.
Hi.
This is Joan McIsaac. And you've got a seedy girl here, Kristen. And another seedy girl there, Itzy, which you may meet in a little bit. So the trays are filled, they're stacked there, they take the tray. Tell me about this little contraption.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. Sometimes when you're in the field, it's hard to get these plugs out of the tray, so this can be used to poke them up from underneath because there's drainage holes for water. But you can also use them to make the holes for seeding. And then, I don't think this will really show up, but there is a hole in each plug that you can put your seeds in. So it kind of helps just make the system a little more efficient.
And you see that these ladies are working with a handful of seeds, just putting them in one or two at a time. How many do you put in each hole?
For the onions, I like to do it 3 in each hole.
So you're planting onions today.
Yeah.
What else will you be planting today?
Depends on if we get to it, but we also have shallots, scallions, a lot of different herbs, lettuce, brassicas like kale and cabbage, that sort of thing. And yeah, basically in the winter I make this very long detailed crop plan, and so the final calendar is over there that has all the little nitty-gritty details. But we try to grow a lot of fun varieties that are really tasty that you definitely can't find in the store. So as a result, we have this kind of long, complicated plan with a lot of different varieties for each crop.
So I see that you have several little packets of seeds over there. Where do the seeds come from?
Yeah, so we buy from a lot of different companies, especially in the Northeast. So Johnny is one, Fedco is another one, and sometimes gardeners will buy from these companies.
And they're all organic?
Sometimes they are. So we're not organic certified, we just follow the regulations. The way the regulations go is that if you can find them organic, you buy them, and if it's a variety that you cannot find organic, you're allowed to use it as long as it's not treated, no fungicides or anything like that.
And that's important to keep, your vegetables free of that sort of thing. And your compost where does that come from?
Yeah, so this potting soil, making good potting soil is a production. So this is from a company in Vermont called Vermont Compost. So we bring these big, it's 2 yards of potting soil. We get like 6 or 7 of them that come on a big truck that I got last winter. So that's what we use.
And they're
Yes.
very large.
Yeah,
they're like a double wide refrigerator out there.
Yeah, but we go through them.
So is it normal for you to do all the soil inside, or do you sometimes do it outside?
Yeah, it's set up out there because the last time we were seeding was in the thick of summer. If you remember, even into September, it was extremely hot, and even with exhaust fans, it gets really hot in here. So we had it set up to fill them outside. We'll probably end up bringing some potting soil in here because it's so cold, but for right now, that's how our setup is.
So we've got an empty greenhouse with a lot of tables, and the tables are sort of on these, looks like chicken wire or whatever you call that. So that is, what's the purpose of that?
Yeah, so we start our trays along this side because we have these heat mats that maintain a certain temperature, which will get the seedlings germinated. And pretty quickly in the next few weeks, this greenhouse is going to be filled up. We're going to have to start moving things outside to get ready, kind of prepare physically to be in the field. So we hope the snow goes away soon. And then we have the wire on these tables for drainage. It just, because we water them every day pretty much, it gives the water somewhere to go. So yeah.
So so the onions are planted, and you're almost done with the onions. And it'll be quick. So at what point can you move them outside? What if there's still snow on the ground?
Yeah, so it really depends a lot on what the crop is. Once they get big enough that they're ready to go, if they can tolerate the temperatures outside, you can put them outside. So if it was going to get down to like 32 tomorrow, like the onions will be fine. You can cover them with a cloth so that they're more protected too, to kind of get them adjusted to that temperature. Yeah, when it gets to a certain point, they're just waiting, kind of sitting there to go outside. So
I've been to your sale, and your sale is phenomenal. And you have a variety of heirloom tomatoes that I have never seen in any garden center. So if you've never been to the Brookwood sale, you should definitely make a point to come. So with those varieties, when do you start to plant the tomatoes?
The tomatoes won't be for about a month because if we start them too early, they'll be too big. And then you can imagine if you have this like unwieldy thing that's ready to go into the ground, it's not the best. You want more of like a sturdy kind of medium-sized plant.
So these are, so the onions, and what else is planted that could potentially go outside even if it's still cold outside?
Yeah, I mean like the lettuce and the cabbage and the kale and those sorts of things are more cold hardy. So this week is going to be extremely cold. At night it's going to get down to 10, so they can't handle those sorts of temperatures right now. But yeah, everything we're doing now, you put in the ground first because they can handle some cold.
Now, is the greenhouse heated at all?
Yeah, this greenhouse it's heated with propane, and right now it's heated to about 40 degrees to just keep it above freezing basically. And then a lot of the seeds like to be heated to a higher temperature, more like 80 degrees. And so that's why we have these heat mats. It's a lot more economical than heating the whole greenhouse to 80. And then also some things like lettuce, for instance, just is not happy if it's hot. And that's why you'll notice that there's not a lot of lettuce at the farmer's market or in your CSA share during the height of the summer.
They need more. So this is all volunteer, am I correct?
I am paid staff, and our assistant farm manager, Alexis, who had to go to the other site, is paid staff, but the rest of everyone here is volunteers helping us get it done.
So typically on a seed planting day, how many do you need, and do you get? Because sometimes you need a lot more, but...
So we do a lot of seeding. So we have right now a sign up for people that are subscribed via our newsletter. We sign up for up to 6 people. It's more just like a space thing because we have a lot to seed. We could definitely have 10 different people seeding things, but there wouldn't be the space for it. It would just be too crowded and kind of disorganized. So so we basically have different slots, and then when they fill up, then that's it.
Well, sounds cool. And this is the greenhouse on the Bradley estate. So what's the relationship with the Bradley estate? Do you rent the space, or they just let you utilize it?
Yeah, we lease the space from them. Yeah. And then our neighbors, Muddy River Herbals, has the same situation where they're leasing the space.
Okay, and then your space is over by the Houghton's Pond?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, our main site where CSA pickup and that seedling sale is on DCR land.
So once the sprouts are outside and they're going, when can you put them in the ground? Or do they go in the ground?
Yeah. So if they're for the plant sale, they will not go into the ground, and they'll just go to people's homes who will plant them as soon as they can. But then for us, we'll definitely start planting sometime in April, the more cold hardy things, the ones that can take it if it gets really cold for a spell. But things like tomatoes and eggplant love the warmth, so we would wait until later in May to plant those.
I know for me, I've always sort of used Memorial Day as a barometer of when to plant my tomatoes outside, but the weather's always has seemed to be a little bit unpredictable lately.
Yeah.
But I love the field because they have fresh flowers there that you could even go and cut. And sometimes part of the CSA share is you go and you pick things off the vine, like beans, right?
Beans and peas and that sort of thing. Cherry tomatoes, even tomatillos and husk cherries, which not everyone's.
I love the husk cherries. If you've never had a husk cherry, they look sort of like a small yellow tomato, but they're kind of sweet. Texture of a tomato and a grape rolled into one. They're really, really yummy. And you're making me hungry because I want some fresh veggies.
Yeah.
But, well, thank you for all this information. You know, it's a production. It's a lot of work, and it's basically volunteer. And you're dealing with the elements, because even though they have these big tubes of soil outside, much of it's frozen, and you're getting big chunks, whoops, that wasn't good, of frozen dirt. So they're kind of waiting for it to warm up in here a little bit, and they'll crumple it up because this won't fit in that in the tray there. But it all starts now. It's March 3rd, March 4th, and
The 5th.
it's the 5th.
Already.
What's a couple days?
Yeah.
And you know, we got that 16 inches of snow yesterday, but it's warm inside. It'll be green in about a few days.
Maybe by the end of the week.
By the end of the week. So we're here with Kristen McDonald, who is a volunteer here at the the Brookwood Farm, and also is an amazing beekeeper. So I know Kristen from a couple of different venues. And as you can see, she's planting the seeds. And it's all a little bit at a time, like one at a time, where she's got the tray filled, and she's got a palm full of seeds in a stick. So can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing here? And
sure. So Sarah has given us a list of everything that needs to be accomplished today, and we're working off of that list. And the first thing we do is we make a tag on a popsicle stick with the variety, the date that we're planting it, and how many trays of each variety.
Wow, so you know in advance how many trays. If you can see, this says onions 1 blush. It has some numbers here, and it has the date there. Or am I wrong? Oh no, that's like 4 of 13.
Exactly. So I need 13 trays of the blush onions, and at the very top you can see 3/5 the date today that we're planting it. And each one of the trays gets labeled so we know exactly what's in each tray, and we can plant it out in the field in the proper place, or make sure that it gets put into the sale labeled correctly. So we take our popsicle sticks and count out the proper number of trays, dibble little holes into them, and then grab our seed packet that matches, and we're always double checking to make sure we have the right variety. And then for the onions, we're doing 3 seeds per cell, and these trays hold 128 cells.
That's quite a lot of bad breath in the making, right?
Exactly.
So do you thin out the little cell if you're putting 3 seeds in?
Nope, they are planted in a clump. So when you go to harvest onions, you actually just pick the whole clump out, and you get 3 beautiful onions all together when you pick them out of the soil. So onions are one of the few things. Beets are another thing where you're going to plant in a little bit of a clump, and they grow very well and grow perfectly to size, clustered together like that.
That's very cool. So 3 in a clump. And so it's March 5th today. When will these be ready to pick and eat?
That's a question that Sarah would be able to answer better. I don't know the number of days to harvest on this, but actually I can tell you what the seed packet says because it's always marked on here.
May, June, Sarah?
Longer.
Longer.
No.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons we start these crops
Late July.
as early as possible, is it takes a long time for them to size up and be ready to harvest. And 115 days.
That's so long. So we're looking
planting.
at July to have a salad, put it on your burger.
Exactly.
Buy the gummed mouthwash. Well, that's cool. So you've got all the trays here. You're almost done with this blush onion, and then you'll move on to something else.
Exactly. We have a long checklist, goes for pages, so
Good.
Just keep on trucking.
So we're outside. There's snow on the ground. We're in front of these enormous, what would you call them?
They're bags of soil.
Bags of soil.
2-yard bags of soil.
So normally this wouldn't be where the soil is kept, but tell us what,
Oh yeah. So in the summer we keep it out here, but in the winter we usually put a couple of the bags inside with the tractor. But with the sudden snowfall we got behind, so we just had to improvise, which you always do. So instead of having the tractor move it inside, we were using a wheelbarrow, and we're also using these buckets that we're filling up to bring inside the greenhouse.
So it's very, very piecemeal, and they've adapted. They've got, when you're in New England, you get 2 feet of snow and you kind of have to run with it. But it's a beautiful quality of soil. As Sarah said, it's very light and fluffy, even though it's frozen. So she's been coming out here in the cold and doing it bucket at a time to fill up that wheelbarrow. So that's dedication.
Yeah.
So when you're eating that tomato in the summer, know that every single plant had a lot of tender, loving care to get there. So here you go. Here's one.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking dirt to us. And did I see somebody with seeds in there?
Oh yeah, so during the summertime, this is a cooler that we have, so that if it's in, it's the heat of the summer and we're harvesting kale here, we need to get it in a cool location before it wilts. But right now we're not using it that way. So it is a rodent-proof box for our seeds, basically.
Wow.
If we just left it in a plastic container outside or even in the greenhouse, the rodents would chew through the plastic. And get to the popcorn seeds and winter squash seeds and that sort of thing. So we're keeping them in there right now.
Rats.
Yeah.
Go. And it is a real greenhouse. The color of the wall is green. So what do you know? Well, Sarah, thank you so much for your time, and thank your volunteers here. We've got Kristen, Jackie, Itzy, Joan, and Alexis for all of your volunteer efforts in making all these plants come to life. If you're interested in coming to the sale, what are the dates of the sale?
It is May 11th and 12th. May 12th is Mother's Day, so bring your mom, get her some seedlings, or get some seedlings and plant them for your mom.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the trip. Mark your calendars and plan on a great salad, and I'll be over.